True Bible Temple, Apostolic Ministry. That name never gets any shorter. That's a mouthful there, yeah. Good to see we got smiling faces and smiling faces. There I was. Karen was. Everybody else looks like they're like. Okay, fake it then for me, okay? Fake it. Yeah, I know this shifted time thing can be a little weird. It's nice to give you more time in the morning, but I don't know, then you get out and it's like the whole afternoon, and yeah, it's a little weird to get used to. I get it. So if people are catching the broadcast that maybe would usually be here in the morning, yeah, I think in a way I get that. So, anyway, you figure it out, right? All right, so I'm going to ask a basic question. What is salvation?
Everything's working good.
Hmm?
Everything's working good.
Thank you. Come on, floor's open. Floor's open. Nobody has any observation?
No.
Okay. Do we need to hand out coffee? Go, please.
Salvation, I think about it. Scripture say how God is going to save you.
Okay.
God, so God is going to save
Okay.
from our sin.
I'm good with that.
Major purpose to come to save us, deliver us from our sins through His blood.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're being delivered from the sins that destroy us. That's what we can continue that.
Yes. Amen. That is true. Okay. Anybody else? Nothing? Okay. Why is it lost? What happened? Okay. Why?
No God, no love, no peace, no joy.
Okay. But how long did that exist? Was it always like that? Okay. What happened? Yeah. You couldn't stay on a diet. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. So, all right, let me throw out a few of my observations. All right, so this word, this phrase, this sentence in question here can have some varied answers, can it? All right, so to the guy that fell off a boat, it might be that somebody throws out one of those big candy-looking things, right? Lifesavers are the little ones, right? But then there's the big ones that they're named after, right? And man overboard, right? And you throw something over to him to catch that, right? All right. They'll drop the anchor. I guess that depends on how much you like the guy. Huh? It's like, wow, yeah. Wrapped. All right, let's see. If I pull this lever over here, that's really cold-hearted. Wow. All right, so I think we covered the guy in the boat. Well, how about somebody stuck in a fire and the blessed relief that the sprinkler system not only was serviced but is actually functioning correctly and starts blasting cold water everywhere. Put out the fire. All right. How about the pilot of a damaged aircraft that is thankful for the wonderful invention called a parachute? Because most of the time you don't want to ride that baby all the way in. It usually doesn't end well. Usually ends with a really large crater and a big cloud of smoke and a lot of flames. Not a great place to be. Yeah, if it was a passenger liner, yeah. To a soldier under fire, it might be the amazing thing that we need to thank DuPont for, kind of accidentally, called Kevlar body armor, which came out of another invention that came out of another invention that was kind of accidental to start with. But look at all the neat things we made out of that, right? So for those particular people in those particular situations, disregarding God, and I get that, I'm not saying that I'm disregarding, I'm just saying in the circumstance, all of those little items were salvation to that person, weren't they? Right? Parachute, boat, Kevlar body armor, sprinklers, fire fire extinguishing. Yeah. In that particular moment, what would that person trade? Steve says anything in the world. Yeah, that'd probably be about true. You think you guys said, you know what, I'll take your entire bank account and I'll throw you this boat. You'd be willing to make that deal, wouldn't you? Especially when you see the fins coming up, dun 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 dun. You're like, oh yeah, this is bad. Give me the boat. Give me the boat. You can have the money. We can't make any deals like that with God, though, can we? Does he really need the bank account fattened? Is there anything we're going to give him that he doesn't already have? I'm not going to pull that one off, are we? So how about other opinions? To the atheist or the humanist, we, according to them, are our own salvation. We are the highest form of life. Through microbic struggles over billions of years, we came out on top. Although, if you're alone in the middle of the Pacific and there's sharks circling around, you might be wondering who's actually on top. That could be an arguable point at that time, couldn't it? Who's the top of the food chain? He's looking at you going, and you're going, oh.
I wonder what like a human tastes like.
We'll find out real soon. If anybody ever read the story of the torpedoing of the Indianapolis, you know all about how that can go very poorly. Yeah, terrible tragedy. So that either we just exist and are atheists, or the humanist says we are actually the gods. We make ourselves fit. Now, do I really have any backing or validation at all? Are we really actually decent at heart if left to our own advice? What do you think would happen if you put 10 people in a room with 10 big, real sharp swords and $1 billion pile of cash in the corner and said the last guy standing gets the money? There's going to be an awful lot of blood, isn't there? You can't leave. You're locked in. You're locked in. It's down to the last man. If anybody else is still alive, you don't get the money. It ain't going to end well, is it? At least for 9, anyway. And you don't know that the last guy might be so carved up, he might still be alive and die along the way. Well, that money didn't help him either, did it? So, where's the goodness in that scenario? Obviously, you can see that this is wrong. We're not going to ascend somehow on our own here, are we? To the Eastern religions, it's a repeating cycle of attempting to better oneself by reincarnation over and over and over. I don't really want to come back as a cow. There's far too many McDonald's and Burger Kings on, like every corner that your eye by. I'm just not seeing that ending well either. I really don't want to end up as part of a Big Mac. There doesn't seem to be very much dignity in that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just not liking that idea. There's no, Anyway, so I'm not exactly sure what the whole cow thing is with that. I get that is a sacred animal to them, but apparently their idea is that you just keep repeating this cycling through, and supposedly you get better on every go-round until you can hop off the bouncing chicken on the merry-go-round and get off and stand on the sidewalk and watch it going around, and supposedly you've gotten to nirvana at that point. Well, first of all, my question is, hey, how long is this going to take? And they're going to look at you and they're going to go, I don't know. How good are you? How many times through this cycle is it going to take you to actually figure out that you're not a good person? You get a little better, and what? You slide backwards. And now you just found out, okay, well, I just went 432 cycles forward and I just slid back 67. Oh, man, really? Not buying that one either. To some of the Asian or pantheistic American offshoots, it's attempting to liberate one's soul by becoming more attuned with the Godhead and lifting or traveling one's consciousness to eventually become spiritually enlightened and merge with the Godhead. Yeah. That one's sounding kind of confusing too. That sounds like an awful lot of maybes and an awful lot of cycles and an awful lot of thises and an awful lot of that's. No. And then we get over to the other big one. What do the Muslims say? They say that you're going to travel to Jannah, paradise, through attempting to better oneself, treating his neighbor and friend well. It does say some of that in there too, yeah. But there's also the other side. What is their commandment? Supposedly they get bonus points here, right? Sharia, jihad, right? We convert infidels. Either they convert willingly or they convert unwillingly. There's a little bit of sword poking and other things like that going on along that conversion line, aren't there? It's a little crazy, especially from the side if you're the infidel being converted. So otherwise, your choice is pretty much, it's gonna give you a nice shave and a haircut. It's gonna start right about here. Ooh. And they think that they're going to be blessed, welcomed, and congratulated by Allah for this performance of this duty. Awful lot of opinions out there. Some of them are rather strange. When you're a stranger. This is probably going to take a couple of weeks to get through. So, anyway. So, how about us? Where do we take somebody if they want to be a new convert? What do we show them? We can do a testimony of our experience, right? We can tell them how we ended up here, right? Riding in a truck with a broken radio and the guy that wouldn't shut up and stop singing. I told you that story, right? That's a good one. That's how I got here. A lot of people have funny stories like that. Some people, their stories ain't so funny. Actually, some of them were terribly tragic. Some people ended up here because they nearly died, or somebody very close to them did die, or maybe they wish they were dead. Yeah, you're completely whacked out of your squash there on alcohol and a cornucopia of recreational pharmaceuticals you probably can't even pronounce. You wake up in an alley between two buildings, staring at the sky while it's raining in your face and going, how far have I dropped? How did I get here? Really, really fallen. Some people say, well, you're not going to find God until you actually get to rock bottom, right? You heard that one before? You see where rock bottom actually is, is that on a map? There's like a couple of mountains and there's like this ravine in between. It's called rock bottom. Is that where it is? Like a river runs through it? No. Gorge in Colorado? Rock bottom. There we go. Now we know exactly what we're looking for. So we end up here for a whole cornucopia of reasons. But we all end up going, at least hopefully, in the same direction, going the same place, regardless of where we're starting from. Every one of us has a different background, right? None of us have ever had the same experiences. Even twins, though they might have exactly the same DNA, don't have all the same memories. One of them did something the other one didn't, all right? They get different careers, they have different boyfriends or girlfriends, whatever, right? Different paths, different trips that they went on, different teachers in school, most likely. It's not normal for twins to have every single teacher in common. So even though they're exactly the same, they still have differences. And from there, it just gets bigger, right? Because unless there's something that I don't know, none of us here has a twin that I'm aware of. So we have an even we have an even larger divergence, don't we? But yet we're all looking to come to the same place, to get out of what we were doomed to be in otherwise, right? Our inescapable Eve got offered diet destruction. David said the sin that we were all born with that we can't get rid of, right? No matter how good we are, how many things we've been forgiven for, there's still that one, right? That we all have in common. It started all the way back at the beginning with our farthest grandfather and grandmother. I mean, one way to clean that up. Well, actually, God has one way to clean it up. We are not the ones that are cleaning it. We're going along for the ride saying, okay, yeah, I agree with the program, the plan, the way you've laid it out. Or not. So we call that finding salvation. God has shown his more excellent power since the beginning, saving flawed man from his own mistakes and fatal assumptions. What we say that we take and show someone here that we're going to point them to where they start looking for salvation. We would probably take them to Acts, right? Show them what happened at Acts chapter 2. Start maybe at 1, depending on how much time you had to roll through it. Take them all the way up until Peter, the Harley-driving, leather-wearing dude, the rebel that we all know, stands up with the 11. Now, notice he said he stood up with the 11, but who was talking? What were the other 11 doing? They were all there, right? And the other ones are like, Peter says, sit down, boys, got this. And he proceeds to explain in detail, in great detail, what was going on. And this has happened multiple times, multiple incarnations. When the evil of man came up before God and he repented of having made him, Old Testament, he brought destruction by flooding, but salvation by saving aid. First he just had it in his mind that he was just going to drop the atomic bomb, right? He had the ultimate nuke. The Russians had one they called the Tsar bomb. It was king of all bombs. It was 100 megaton potential yield. They only tested it at 50. And it still pretty much demolished the entire island and blasted radiation everywhere that they were not expecting. This thing was far more powerful than they anticipated. So he said, you know what, you boys can get out of the way with your little toy firecrackers. I'm gonna bring the real stuff. I'm gonna show you how you destroy a planet. I'm gonna do it. Get out of the way, amateurs. It's time for the professional. The little thing pops at the bottom screen. Do not try this at home. Professional only. He said, that's it. I'm done with this. So let's go to Genesis 6:13. Let's see how done with this he actually was. He was pretty done. God says unto Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Well, that's a pretty frightening statement. Thankfully, he didn't stop there. It wasn't just like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm going to give you a heads up. I'm going to wipe out the entire planet, and I'm going to tell you it's coming. But oh well, you ain't going to do anything about it. Too bad, pal. You're beat. That would have been really cruel. He didn't do that. He said, I'm going to give you a way out of this. And anybody else that is willing to listen can go too. He didn't say it was only going to be 8. He just gave him a task here, didn't he? Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. We know what pitch is. Yeah. So it's basically tar. Okay, so You know, most people know that wood, when it's wet long enough, all right, it starts falling apart, right? It rots and the fibers come apart, it degrades. So he's basically telling him, you're going to just paint basically this entire boat, inside and outside. You're going to waterproof it very well, because I'm going to need this thing to last for a period of time. It's not going to be just a week. So I'm going to have you make this well. Follow my blueprints. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50, and the height of it 30. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and any cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. Okay. Nobody exactly knows how big a cubit is, but the guess is usually about 1.5 feet. Yeah, so this thing was about 450 feet long, about 75 feet wide, and about 45 feet high. So it could easily fit 3 floors. And I mean, that's the size of a decent sized cargo barge. It's a big puppy. You know, this was not a rowboat. It's going to take a while to put this thing together. You know, he didn't tell him, no, by the way, I'm going to invent this other thing. You're going to have this place called Lowe's. You can go down there and you can order all the lumber that you need. And the guy with the little badge that you don't know plastics yet, but I'm going to give you plastics. The guy with the plastic badge that says, hi, my name's Dave, is going to give you all this lumber and all these power tools and all these screws and all these nails and all this tar that you're going to need to build this incredible boat.
I'll have to make the generators to use all that equipment.
Oh, that's true too, yeah. There's no electric grid yet. Okay, so I'm going to invent another thing, and then you're going to have to somehow find fuel to power these generators. Yeah, we all know that didn't happen, of course. He had to find and cut all these trees, and he told him what he was going to make it out of, right? What did he say? Gopher wood. Okay, so we're assuming that gopher wood in that area must have been pretty plentiful, right? Because it would have been an awful time if he said, oh yeah, sorry, by the way now, the nearest forest to gopher wood is that way, about 150 miles. So before that, you have to build yourself a flatbed truck, and you got to cart all that material down here before you can get to the sawmill to try to cut the stuff apart. So we're assuming at least, okay, yeah, he had a lot of work to do. You got to believe God made it at least a little easier and gave him local gopher wood that was big enough to do the job. Because we're not talking about little 2x4s to put together wall studs. We're talking ship-sized pieces. Those are going to be heavy puppies, 450 foot long, right? Yeah, you're going to be talking about beams here to take that kind of loading. That's a long ship. And when the water starts bouncing, that keel is going to start having a lot of forces push through it. It has to be done right, or it'll snap in half, just break up. Everybody inside and everything inside dies. But we know that didn't happen. He gave them good blueprints. All right, so yeah, 3-story. Okay, so lower, second, third. Behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of water upon the earth, and destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort, shalt thou bring into the ark. Keep them alive with thee. Thou shalt be male and female, fowl after their kind, and cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food this even, thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for thou. Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so did he. All right, so we already figured out that he didn't do this in a day. He didn't do this in a week. Definitely didn't do this in a year. Didn't do it in a decade. It's a good thing people lived a real long time back then, or he would have had to have trained his sons and grandsons how to be shipbuilders, because he wouldn't have lived long enough to see it, would he? Well, back then we know, according to the documentation of records, God had, excuse me, God had humanity right down. We know these people lived right around 1,000 years. So a 100-year project for him, it was a good piece of his life, but for us that would be, what, maybe 7 years, 6, 7 years? Anybody ever worked on something that didn't get done for 7 years? I had. Okay? So, yeah, it was a big task, but, you know, he wasn't sitting there going, I ain't never going to live to see the end of this one. When they used to build castles and cathedrals in the Middle Ages in Europe, the guy that drew the blueprints and put the first foundation pieces down, he absolutely knew he was not going to live long enough to see this thing done. He had his drawings, and he hoped that this thing would be the magnificence that he wanted to bequeath to God. You know, that was what they believed. You know, that was their service. They said, hey, let's build this magnificent edifice. We know that God doesn't need it. I mean, he could snap his fingers and construct the Cathedral of Notre Dame in a blink. It took hundreds of years to assemble that thing. So his great-great-great-grandchildren may have been around when he finished the spire and put all the final little gargoyles and stoneworks into place. So that was a multi-generational task. To me, I think that's a big deal. To put your entire life into something, knowing you are never going to live long enough to see it, and still think that's worth it. So, you know, you can argue whether it made any sense to build these places or not, but you really can't argue with the commitment of the people that did it. You know, they are phenomenal. If you ever seen a picture, I hope someday to get over to Europe and see some of these. I've never been, of course, but just even the photos, you just look and you go, that came out of the head of some person or some group. You know, it may have been a committee, but the detail and the ornation on some of these things is just, you're like, man can really do that? It's pretty amazing. And then we think about the flip side of how evil we can be too. You know, look how methodically mechanical the German death camps were. To take that same kind of genius and flip it to something so terrible. But yet, and I'm not defending at all, of course, the action. If you look at it purely from a standpoint of the planning, you're almost in awe of how smart these guys were. But what they put that towards, why? This is so horrible, but yet so amazing at the same time. But then you look at the other side, like I said, you look at this cathedral, this giant building, which is just phenomenally flat out amazing. And then most of the people were probably living in wood huts nearby. You know, their houses were not fancy for the most part. And they worked their entire life putting this thing together because their dedication level. They believed, well, I don't know. Obviously, I've never been able to talk to one of them, but I would have to believe that at least some of them thought that they were getting some kind of special points with God for doing this. We know that that's not really actually true, right? Because it didn't say that we were going to get any salvation by works. But, you know, just think about that. They pushed everything else aside, said, I'm going to do until I am either no longer able to do or I die, that I will continue to work on this one project. So, here we got Noah building his ship. Right, so day one, he goes out there, he's got string and stakes, and he starts laying out a 450-foot long giant shadow on the ground. Wife's like, no, what you doing? Kids are like, what's Dad doing? Neighbor's like, yeah, he's been out in the sun too long. He's plowing and harvesting, and his mind's gone. What is he doing out there? So then he tries to explain it. Well, how crazy do you think they figured he was then? Oh, well, you see, the rest of the world's going to be annihilated, but if y'all are smart enough to come with me, you won't be. And we're going to get in this big boat that I'm going to build. Boat. Right. And the nearest river is 50 miles that way. What do we need a boat for in the middle of a wheat field? Well, we don't really know exactly what they were growing there, but okay, just, you know, all right, for argument's sake, you're getting the picture here, right? You know, you build it, they will come, right? Field of dreams. So he's building a ship. So he starts laying the keel, because that's what you do first. You build the backbone, and then you start building up. So you imagine, you know, here it is like, what, 10, 15 years later, right? He's got all the ribs assembled. You got this thing, you know, and it doesn't have any cladding on it yet, but it looks like, you know, the remnant of some giant prehistoric creature that died and left behind its rib cage. And he's like, this is my ship. People are walking by. He's still at it. When is this nut job going to quit? He's like, I'm not going to quit. He's like, this is the job God gave me, and it's going to rain. It's going to what? Is it what? You know, water. It's going to fall out of the sky. Water's going to fall out of the sky. Yeah. Okay. No, that's never happened. What are you rambling about? You really have been out in the sun too long, haven't you? Yeah, no, it's true. It's really going to happen. You know, the ground's going to bust open, water's going to come out, and all this water's going to come falling out of these clouds, and everything's going to get blown away by tidal waves and flooded. Oh yeah, he's lost it. He keeps going. 80 years. He's almost done. Got all the outside hull plating, or whatever you like to call it, assembled, right? If it's not plating, it's not wood, I guess. Maybe it is wood. But anyway, I'm not a naval architect. I'll be close enough, right? The thing is approaching completion here, right? And he says, okay, now I got a few more things to do. You know, I got to finish the little part on top of the third floor. I got a little window and a door and some stuff that I'm supposed to assemble here. The guy told me where exactly he's going to go. And then I got to put this gooey stuff all over it so it doesn't get wet. He gets all that finished, and here it is, it's done, right? And it's got this big old ramp, and all of a sudden these animals start showing up. And I'm looking around going, how did he pull that off? He starts loading them in there. You know, like, well, he may be crazy, but I really can't explain the animal part. Something's really strange here. And then it starts getting cloudy. I'm looking around, and I don't know what that is. And they're still loading the animals. Now, he's been telling these people for 100 years, hasn't he? He gave them warning. Right? It says that he didn't do this, you know, hidden. He didn't have a 470-foot curtain to disguise his ship. It was right out there in the middle for everybody to see, for them to believe that he's telling the truth. He said, look, God talked to me. You don't believe that. Sorry, that ain't my problem. So we get all the way down to it. The clouds are getting thicker and thicker. He finishes loading animals up, doesn't he? He's all done. He said, all right, boys. He gets the sons together, daughter-in-law, get in. Well, they load up. Now everybody's staring at each other. These guys are out there. He's inside looking out the big door, down the ramp. He says, well, I guess this is it. God's hand closes the door. So whatever God has closed, man will not open. Whatever God's opened, man will not close. He shuts the door. So that's it. Now it's raining. Now they understand what all those clouds were. Now they see the ground bust open and water come out too. Because it says that. It says not only did it rain, but it said the deeps basically popped out, okay? So there was some sort of a massive, whatever, earthquake, something or other happens here, right? These big cracks. Water starts coming out of the ground, too. They're just in awe and in panic. Because, like, look, he was actually right. 100 years he was telling us this was going to happen. Now, today is actually the day that it's happening. So, how many of those people do you think are panicking now, trying to get in? Oh, he ain't crazy after all. Oh, my gosh. He's got a 450-foot long boat. There's got to be room in there for us. Open the door. Can't. It's locked. Well, throw a ladder. What's a ladder? I don't have one. This is a big ship. 75 feet in the beam, 35 to 40 feet high. You aren't going to climb that thing. That's going to be a sheer side, right? You're not going to fingernail your way up that puppy. Those people are done. They're out there, and the water's coming up. And it rains and rains and rains. What's it say? 40 days, right? 40 days. So everything is now covered. And the ship comes off of the temporary. You know, I'm sure that while he was putting it together, you know, he had to put, you know, trusses and stuff to hold things from falling over. So all these extra pieces of beaming now are just popping out, floating away. So you can imagine people are probably grabbing those in desperation, thinking they're going to try to use it as a raft for a little while. There's only one how long you can hold on a piece of wood. They all died. It says only 8 were given salvation because they listened. They believed that something insane you cannot see, cannot comprehend at the time, is going to happen. What were they giving Jesus a hard time about? They said, oh, you know, since the fathers have been asleep, nothing changed. Right? The Babylonians mowed through us, and the Persians came and mowed through the Babylonians, and the Romans came and mowed through everybody. We just traded one slavery for another slavery for another slavery. When's it going to change? They mocked them, didn't they? They said, you know, since the fathers, they're going over the patriarchs for you know, they're the man. They were the man. Who are you? And they're like, huh. So who are you? He says, I am and my Father are one. And all of a sudden, well, it goes way past worrying about the patriarchs and everything. They want to stone him. They want to hang him. They want to kill him for blasphemy. He's saying, I'm God. I am the ultimate salvation that you were waiting for. I am the Messiah that all of the Old Testament prophets pointed towards. Believe on me. And what did they do? They rounded up, figured out how to kill him. So let's back up a little bit. Let's go visit Moses for a bit. So you all remember the earlier part of that story, right? So Joseph, right, ends up in Egypt. Excuse me. After various misadventures, and ends up basically being the second hand of the Pharaoh, the second most powerful man in Egypt. But he wasn't supposed to stay there, but they decided to hang out anyway. So now all of a sudden, they turn around later and there's like 2 or 3 million of them. Right? He started out with, how big did they say? His extended family was like 40, 50, maybe 70? Yeah. Okay, so it started with under 100 people, right? And here, you know, natural biology, I guess they didn't have a lot else to do. They have a lot of descendants. So, we get the word in Exodus starting at 1 and 7, and it states it like this, pretty much the same thing. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, pretty much what I said, right? And multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king, a new Pharaoh, over Egypt, who knew not about Joseph. So now they're in a bit of trouble, aren't they? So they're in this spot. What did it say? 400 years? Right? And then finally, Moses is sent to do something about it. So in 14, Moses says to the people, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you shall see them again, no more, forever. They're looking at something, and they're terrified about the immediate and right here, aren't they? They weren't going, hey, you know, we sneak away from these guys and they don't actually end up killing us. Well, this is going to be pretty good. We can set up our own country. No, they're not looking at any of that. They're going, Moses brought us out here to get us slaughtered. It says that they wanted to stone him, did it not? Did it not? State that the guy that was giving them on the platter the way out, they want to kill him. What does it sound like? Yeah? Moses and Jesus probably sitting around the campfire later on, you know, when they're both up there. He's like, you know, you wanted to do that to me. Jesus is going, yeah, no kidding. I was there. I saw the whole thing. Look what they did to me. He's like, yeah, that's true. Hasn't changed, has it? You didn't learn. So at this point, Moses leads the nation of Israel out of Egypt into the desert, was then pursued by the army of Pharaoh, crossed the Red Sea, watched the Egyptian army perish, and then 40 years in the wilderness. Why? Because of their disobedience. Right? Salvation is not free entirely. It cannot be purchased, but it's freely given by God. But, as I like to tell you when you got a little legal document there, right down on the bottom, is that dirt on the paper? No, that's not dirt. That's the provisos, caveats, all that little legal stuff that the lawyers sneak in at the end, Then you get burned with it if you didn't read it, and all of a sudden they pull it out. And they're like, well, what you're saying has merit, except see, there's a little problem in paragraph 12, subsection 41, subsection 173, subsection EEI says, blah, blah, blah. Under this circumstance, you are in default, and you're burned. Its caveats and provisos are a little smaller, and they're not intended to try to trick us or to work us over, but they still require obedience. Obviously, God had a plan before any of this happened. You know that, right? He's not surprised by anything. Would we want him as God if he was? Wow, I didn't see that one coming. Really? Well, I didn't see that one coming either, but you're supposed to be God. Holy smoke, do I want to follow this guy? He didn't see it either. Oh. Wow. He placed us in the perfection of his creation, the Garden of Eden, and gave us eternal bliss and free will. And of course, being the, full blank, being the, all-knowing, all-seeing God, behold, the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world, the sinless sacrifice who became sin for all of us, Jesus, the once and eternal Redeemer, because, giving us free will, and we blow it, because if we didn't, then he wouldn't know everything, would he? Right? So, yeah, we blew it big time. I think I'm going to stop here. Right on, am I supposed to be done at 45, right? Okay, this is a perfect break time. We'll pick up, I guess, next week with Isaiah. And we're going to find out what the Old Testament told us about who was coming later. What did Isaiah say about the Lamb?